And now here is my secret, a very simple secret. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. Love does not consist of gazing at each other, but in looking outward together in the same direction. All grown-ups were once children, but only few of them remember it. It is the time you have wasted for your rose that makes your rose so important. "Goodbye," said the fox. "And now here is my secret, a very simple secret. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." "What makes the desert beautiful," said the little prince, "is that somewhere it hides a well. The most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or touched, they are felt with the heart." "I am looking for friends." "What does that mean, dame?" "It is an act too often neglected," said the fox. "It means to establish ties." "Just that," said the fox. "To me, you are still nothing more than a little boy who is just like 100,000 other little boys. And I have no need of you. And you, on your part, have no need of me. To you I am nothing more than a fox like 100,000 other foxes. But if you tame me, then we shall need each other. To me, you will be unique in all the world. To you, I shall be unique in all the world." "People have forgotten this truth," the fox said. "But you mustn't forget it. You become responsible forever for what you've tamed. You're responsible for your rouse. You alone will have the stars as no one else has them. In one of the stars I shall be living. In one of them I shall be laughing. And so it will be as if all the stars were laughing. When you look at the sky at night, you, only you, will have stars that can laugh." Grown-ups never understand anything by themselves, and it is tiresome for children to be always and forever explaining things to them. It is such a mysterious place, the land of tears. Well, I must endure the presence of a few caterpillars if I wish to become acquainted with the butterflies. "You're beautiful, but you're empty. One couldn't die for you." Of course, an ordinary passer-by would think my rose looked just like you. But my rose, all on her own, is more important than all of you together, since she's the one I've watered. Since she's the one I put under glass, since she's the one I sheltered behind the screen. Since she's the one for whom I killed the caterpillars, except the 2 or 3 butterflies. Since she's the one I listened to when she complained, or when she boasted, or even sometimes when she said nothing at all. Since she's my rose. Of course I'll hurt you. Of course you'll hurt me. Of course we will hurt each other. But this is the very condition of existence. To become spring, means accepting the risk of winter. To become presence, means accepting the risk of absence. You see, one loves the sunset when one is so sad. "People where you live," the little prince said, "grow 5,000 roses in one garden. Yet they don't find what they're looking for." "They don't find it," I answered. "And yet what they're looking for could be found in a single rose, or a little water." "Of course," I answered. And the little prince added, "But eyes are blind. You have to look with the heart." You become responsible, forever, for what you have tamed. where are the people?" resumed the little prince at last. "It's a little lonely in the desert." "It is lonely when you're among people, too," said the snake. "I shall look at you out of the corner of my eye, and you will say nothing. Words are the source of misunderstandings. If you love a flower that lives on a star, it is sweet to look at the sky at night. All the stars are abloom with flowers. A goal without a plan is just a wish. All men have stars, but they are not the same things for different people. For some, who are travelers, the stars are guides. For others they are no more than little lights in the sky. For others, who are scholars, they are problems. But all these stars are silent. You alone will have stars as no one else has them. In one of the stars I shall be living. In one of them I shall be laughing. And so it will be as if all the stars will be laughing when you look at the sky at night. You, only you, will have stars that can laugh. And when your sorrow is comforted, time soothes all sorrows, you will be content that you have known me. You will always be my friend. You will want to laugh with me. And you will sometimes open your window, so, for that pleasure, it will be as if, in place of the stars, I had given you a great number of little bells that knew how to laugh. And when your sorrow is comforted, time soothes all sorrows, you will be content that you have known me. You will always be my friend. You will want to laugh with me. And you will sometimes open your window, so, for that pleasure, and your friends will be properly astonished to see you laughing as you look up at the sky. Then you will say to them, "Yes, the stars always make me laugh." And they will think you are crazy. It will be a very shabby trick that I shall have played on you. Perfection is achieved, not when there is nothing more to add, but when there is nothing left to take away. She cast her fragrance and her radiance over me. I ought never to have run away from her. I ought to have guessed all the affection that lay behind her poor little stratagems. Flowers are so inconsistent. But I was too young to know how to love her. You're beautiful, but you're empty. No one could die for you. Grown-ups love figures. When you tell them you've made a new friend, they never ask you any questions about essential matters. They never say to you, what does his voice sound like? What games does he love best? Does he collect butterflies? Instead they demand, how old is he? How much does he weigh? How much money does his father make? Only from these figures do they think they have learned anything about him. True love begins when nothing is looked for in return. I remembered the fox. One runs the risk of crying a bit if one allows oneself to be tamed. A rock pile ceases to be a rock pile the moment a single man contemplates it, bearing within him the image of a cathedral. In those days, I didn't understand anything. I should have judged her according to her actions, not her words. She perfumed my planet and lit up my life. I should never have run away. I ought to have realized the tenderness underlying her silly pretensions. Flowers are so contradictory. But I was too young to know how to love her. When someone blushes, doesn't that mean yes? But if you tame me, then we shall need each other. To me, you will be unique in all the world. To you, I shall be unique in all the world. If you want to build a ship, don't drum up the men to gather wood, divide the work, and give orders. Instead, teach them to yearn for the vast and endless sea. I did not know how to reach him, how to catch up with him. The land of tears is so mysterious. No single event can awaken within us a stranger whose existence we had never suspected. To live is to be slowly born. I have lived a great deal among grown-ups. I have seen them intimately, close at hand. And that hasn't much improved my opinion of them. I have no right to say or do anything that diminishes a man in his own eyes. What matters is not what I think of him but what he thinks of himself. Hurting a man in his dignity is a crime. If you want to build a ship, don't drum up people together to collect wood and don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. Love consists of not looking each other in the eye, but of looking outwardly in the same direction. The proof that the little prince existed is that he was charming, that he laughed, and that he was looking for a sheep. If anybody wants a sheep, that is a proof that he exists. I am who I am and I have the need to be. To forget a friend is sad. Not everyone has had a friend. But if you come at just any time, I shall never know at what hour my heart is to be ready to greet you. No one is ever satisfied where he is. I was too young to know how to love her. What saves a man is to take a step, then another step. In one of those stars I shall be living. In one of them I shall be laughing. And so it will be as if all the stars were laughing, when you look at the sky at night. And when your sorrow is comforted, time soothes all sorrows, you will be content that you have known me. You will always be my friend, I shall not leave you. For millions of years flowers have been producing thorns. For millions of years sheep have been eating them all the same. And it's not serious, trying to understand why flowers go to such trouble to produce thorns that are good for nothing. It's not important, the war between the sheep and the flowers. It's no more serious and more important than the numbers that fat red gentleman is adding up. Suppose I happen to know a unique flower, one that exists nowhere in the world except on my planet, one that a little sheep can wipe out in a single bite one morning, just like that, without even realizing what he's doing. That isn't important. If someone loves a flower of which just one example exists among all the millions and millions of stars, that's enough to make him happy when he looks at the stars. He tells himself my flower's up there somewhere. But if the sheep eats the flower, then for him it's as if, suddenly, all the stars went out. And that isn't important. I wonder, he said, whether the stars are set alight in heaven so that one day each one of us may find his own again. Of course, I love you, the flower said to him. If you were not aware of it, it was my fault. I have always loved the desert. One sits down on a desert sand dune, sees nothing, hears nothing. Yet through the silence something throbs, and gleams. Tell me who admires and loves you, and I will tell you who you are. One day, you said to me, I saw the sun set 44 times. And a little later you added, "You know one loves the sunset, when one is so sad." "Were you so sad, then?" I asked, "on the day of the 44 sunsets?" But the little prince made no reply. Words are the source of misunderstandings. But the conceited man did not hear him. Conceited people never hear anything but praise.